On here. Recording progress. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of our Friday Fun Day Facebook chats of talking about whatever subject that we're talking about. And today is about love languages, which is awesome. It's actually one of my favorite. Well, it's one of my favorite books, to be honest. Whenever I get someone who asks me, "What's your favorite book? What do you recommend?" Obviously, the second question I always follow up with is, well, what area of your life do you need improvement in? Definitely. But if someone's really got like no idea or whatever, just give me something. I think for me personally, the love languages, just because it's really important to know. And I think as well, off topic a little bit, but a lot of people worry, like they assume love language is being to your intimate partner, when in reality it's not. It's also just any kind of significant and any relationship at all, actually, in general, whether it be with friends, family members, work colleagues, whatever. Like everything is about building relationships and rapport with people, and how to best understand how that person reciprocates love and how they would like to be felt with love, and vice versa is really important. So great topic. Jess chose this one, so thanks, Jess, for the topic. But
yeah, it's a good one.
What would you say firstly, I guess, about the book? I think, like, when did you first read the book?
Oh man, when did I read it? Probably like probably not long after me and Clay got together, actually. Probably like maybe 7 years ago. We've been together 10 years this year. So
Wow.
I'd heard of love languages, like I knew the 5 and I knew what ones I connected with, but I hadn't read the book essentially to really dive into it until, probably about 7 years ago. I probably read it pretty regularly. I'll probably read it maybe once a year. It's a good one. Yeah. Should we share what they are in case people don't even know what we're talking about?
Well, this is true. Actually, this is very true. So you go for it. You rip into them.
Okay, so there's 5. Okay, and we have little bits of all of them, but there'll be like 2 to 3 that are really how you feel loved, really, how that really works for you. You feel that love that's important to you. And like Dom said, it's not just about someone that you're intimate with. This is all relationships. Even in business, it's really good to know their love languages, so you can make them feel special and feel loved in that way. So we have physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, and then like gifts.
Well done, you did well. I was going to see if you could remember more. Good.
Yeah, that's 5, right? So they're the 5. So I guess, like, really thinking about it, like, for example, out of all of those 5, the last one for me is gifts. I wasn't brought up, I didn't celebrate birthdays and stuff like that because of my religion that I was born into. So getting presents and stuff like that wasn't a way that I was given love or felt loved. However, I have friends, and this is something I had to learn, who did. That was their like number 1, right? Was gifts. And because that wasn't mine, mine was more like quality time and physical touch and words of affirmation. They're my 3 top. They were like offended, and I didn't understand why. So that's why it's important to know, because we all feel loved in different ways, right? So that was a lesson learned for me, to go, okay, so for me, I gave my quality time. I drove 3 hours to be at this event, but I didn't buy a present because that wasn't how I show love. But if you understand that that's important to someone, then that's how, buying them a gift, it's not so much for you, it's for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So I think, like, just backtracking a little bit on what you said, the first thing I think, as on a male's perspective, I just think it's very important for blokes, if you're watching this or listening to this, do yourself a favor and educate yourself on the 5 love languages. It's not weak. It's not seen as like girly to go and be in tune with your emotions. I think that's one thing that has been a huge misconception. And, the stereotypical male shouldn't be in tune with their emotions, shouldn't express, shouldn't cry, shouldn't do any of that kind of shit. You should be a man, and men should be men. And this is not about, as well, because just with world events, I do strongly believe on what's going on at the moment has been because a lot of men are no longer being that strong, independent, authoritarian type male when it comes to global things, but it's about having that balance. So for me, like I'm very in touch with my emotions. I can very easily express my emotions, how I'm feeling and what I'm going through, but I'm also driven as a motherfucker and I want to make sure I go out there and get things done, and I'm still an alpha male. And I think that balance is where a lot of blokes need to be, and we're getting pretty much both are just completely weakened in both those areas at the moment. So blokes, I really strongly recommend that you go out there and read the book, go out there and just start to study these things. So secondary to that, for me personally as well, like I believe that there's a major and a minor. There's some that obviously do, you know, no one really doesn't like getting a gift given to them. Like if someone gives them, I'm going to be like, oh, well, that's really nice. I just don't, it's not a major thing for me to go out there and accept that. Whereas there's some people that like literally need to be bought things for them. That's their main form. So for me personally though, is touch. Touch has always been a big one. Feeling connected with that person, and obviously, again, coming back to it doesn't have to be your physical partner. You know, something as simple as, you know, you might have a mate who's like, you know, you do it often. You might haven't seen him for a while, so you give him a quick hug, like, "G'day, mate, how you going? Haven't seen you for a while." Like, I'm more of that kind of person. I'm more of a hugger than a handshaker. You know, because again, I need that touch because I feel more connected with that person. And you know, that definitely comes down to my childhood. Mum was a big affectionate person. She didn't really say much with her words, but she was hugely affectionate. And that's where I learnt that from. And then second to that is words of affirmation. I've always sought out for that. Like I really always wanted people telling me, am I doing a good job? That's for me reaffirming, and I've always needed to hear that. And then second to that, with a, you know, affectionate partner, you know, I need to know that everything's okay. It gives me that reassurance when I can hear like, yeah, yep, thank you, you're amazing, oh, this is good. They're basically acknowledging you, because in reality, people just want to be appreciated and accepted and acknowledged. Like they're the main ones when it comes to day-to-day interactions. It's no different to if you're at the shopping center or if you're waiting in line, you're happy to wait in line as long as you've been recognized. If someone says on the counter, like, oh, yeah, I see you, no worries, I'm just going to be a couple of minutes, I'll be with you in 1 second. You're happy to sit there and wait. If that person doesn't even give you eye contact, you're out that door and you're not even going to be there. So just things like that, dealing and understanding and knowing is really important. And I've learned the love languages can correlate across all walks of life and areas of life.
Yeah, and I mean, even just in business, right? Like if you've got someone working with you and one of them is words of affirmation, and you're not giving that validation and saying, hey, look, we recognize that you're really working and these are things happening, then there's going to be a bit of disconnect there. So yeah, it's so important to know what yours are, and the people that you're most close to. So if you have a partner, your best friend who you're working with, just ask the question, like, do you know what your love languages are? I'd love to know. It's really cool to know. And even like, this could save marriages, it saves relationships and stuff. It really can, because if you have someone, so like, you know, women, it could be as simple as your husband doing the dishes, right? Or your partner, whoever you're with, is doing the dishes. If acts of service makes you feel loved, you're like, yes, and you're excited, and that makes you feel really good in your relationship. Where acts of service for me, that's just life. Like, we got to do dishes, we got to clean, like we'll get that stuff done. That doesn't really connect to me in that way, but I know some people it does. So if you're not communicating this stuff to who you live with or people that you're close to, so if you're not in a relationship but you have a housemate and they aren't doing the dishes and that's something that's important to you, if you haven't told them, they don't know what they don't know. Okay, so this can cause conflict in any situation or relationship if you don't understand what your love languages are and theirs, because they could be completely opposite or they could be the same, and that's why you really, you know, in flow and things are good. And it's the same, like I'm a hugger too, like quality time and physical touch, and then quality time and then words of affirmation. So we're the same, but like it is like, it's the same. I'm a hugger too. And like some people are a little bit like, whoa, why are you touching me? But I'm just like, this is just me, man. This is how we're going to go. If we're going to connect and we're going to talk and we're going to be friends, then this is part of who I am. This is what I need from you. But yeah, it is. It's just understanding where you're at with it. And yeah, please, if you haven't read the book, I really highly recommend you do, just to really dive into different aspects, because there is a lot of depth to it. There's different ways that you may not know are in that one love language. And it might surprise you what yours are too. Like, just because, you know, I know for me, acts of service, for example, at one stage in my life might have been something that was really important to me, because obviously as we grow and change, so does that too. But there'll be a couple in there that really stand out for you that you go, yes, That makes sense. That's why I get upset when people don't say, like, give me compliments or don't, validate me. And then you'll start to know that that's important to you and you can share that with people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think on the going on with what I said before with blokes, there's the five languages, love languages, the initial book, but then now this, I can't remember who the author is. Is it Gary Chapman? Maybe, I think Gary Chapman. I think it is. Yeah, Gary Chapman. So he's come out and written a book for women and for men. So one which is really good because it basically written in the tense. If you're getting one for blokes, it's essentially for how can blokes better understand love languages on a bloke's perspective to therefore, for a female, in your life. So, but yeah, 100%, I've just started a relationship relatively recently, and, because I've had all these years of personal development and also reading the books and knowing my love languages, essentially, like, I literally had the conversation with them right at the start. And I said, these are my love languages. And I was lucky enough that they knew what they'd read the book as well. And we had the conversation. I'm like, this is how I need to feel like I'm valued and loved and appreciated, and vice versa. And then they said the same thing to me. And very luckily, which is probably a huge reason as to why we connect so well, is because we had basically the same sort of thing. But then equal to that is also, to be able to openly communicate on all the areas, because again, acts of service may not be a high priority for some people, but if you can perform, certain acts of services in a way that can provide the love language fulfillment of that person. So for example, what I'm trying to say is, sorry, if theirs is acts of service and yours isn't, right? So you're going out of your way to do acts of service for them, and then they reciprocate and they basically take on that acts of service and thank you in a way that might be your love language, i.e. physical touch, then therefore you can see how that transaction will be very, very great for your relationship. And another one, my gift giving, one thing I've always assumed as well, gift giving was literally going out and buying things. But gift giving can be something as simple as, going picking some wildflowers out of the ground and giving it to them. And, that it doesn't have to be actual money spent, or, you might create something, create a little gift, which is also actually really good because, you might create something that has some words of affirmation on there. So the crossover is really good. And I think, as you said, you read the book and you get a lot more deep diving into some certain areas, which I think.
And they're all five of them are important, right? All five are important. It's just finding what is really important to you. Like what are things that are like kind of non-negotiables? Like you're not going to stay in a relationship with someone if, say, you're wanting to have quality time with them and you're not getting that need, then there's going to be a disconnect. There's going to be something there missing for you. So yeah, if you're not having the conversation, go have it. Go just start talking about it, start finding what works for you. And I promise you, if you start to do more for, like, I hear this all the time and I have friends, and it's like, I just wish they did this, 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 and this. Well, you start doing those things. Like if you actually start doing those things for that person without even saying anything, they're going to start to do it back to you. It's not, sometimes you don't even have to say it. It's just like you going out of your way. You want them to say they love you more. Start saying you love them. And all of a sudden you'll start hearing them say it more. Like sometimes you just have to take the lead, like stop waiting for them to do it. Like having expectations is the biggest killer of all relationships. Like if you want something, start doing it yourself and it will come back to you.
Completely agree. All right, that'll finish up our Facebook one. We've gone for a good amount of time there. So thank you everyone who was tuning into that one. Again, as we say each and every week, feel free to reach out to either of us. And if there's a topic, something you'd like us to talk about, obviously it's only 10 to 15 minutes. We'll only do a short little deconstruct of that topic, but they're always good for a little bit of a pump you up leading into the weekend. So love yous all, and we'll speak to you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.